Alright, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video we're going to be looking at target markets as well as buyer persona. Okay, now when we talk about target markets are different than target audience. Okay, your target market may be, let's say, the elderly population, for example, but the target audience would be people who take care of their elderly. Okay, if your target market is children, okay, your target audience may be the parents. Okay, if your target market is pets, okay, let's say you're marketing products based on pets. Okay, if you're marketing products for pets, your target audience will be the pet owner. Okay, it won't be the pet, it will be the pet owner, because this is the person who will eventually buy the product. So when we talk about target markets, we're talking about people that you're going to base your products on. Okay, so your target market would be pets, children, the elderly population, so on and so forth. Now, in order for you to advertise and market your products, okay, you may develop something called a buyer persona. Okay, so let me write this down over here. So this is buyer persona. Now, what exactly is buyer persona? This is sort of like a semi-fictional representation of who and what the buyer looks like. It's sort of drawing a character on a piece of paper to try and figure out what the character looks like in real life. Okay, it would be sort of like your comic books, okay, which may represent real life superheroes. Okay, sort of like your movies that may represent people in real life. So this is buyer persona. When we talk about buyer persona, again, this is semi-fictional representation. And when franchises and corporations, they develop buyer personas, they may have names for their buyer persona to categorize them, okay, such as tech savvy, such as family man for a person who is more family oriented when making a purchase, okay, so on and so forth. So this is representation. All right, now let's look at some of the factors, some of the things that you consider when developing a buyer persona. So how exactly do you develop a buyer persona? Okay, so one thing to consider is name. So this is where you easily discuss your customer and plan how to reach this customer. So discuss and plan how to reach the customer. All right, next you have age. Okay, so this is understanding generation specific properties. So this is age. Okay, so if your buyer persona is of a certain age, you may need to understand people of that age group, okay, in order for you to develop your buyer persona, in order for you to advertise and market your products. Okay, so age has to do with understanding, okay, generation specific characteristics. So it could be the baby boomers, it could be ages between 20 and 34, could be ages between 13 and 18. So we're talking about teens, we're talking about young adults, we're talking about adults in their mid-30s, so on and so forth. Okay, now apart from age, you also have interest. Okay, so what exactly are their hobbies? Okay, so what do they do in their spare time? So hobbies. All right, now apart from hobbies, you also have media usage. Okay, what exactly do they use when it comes to media, and how do they use it? Okay, when they access internet, what kind of websites do they go on? When they watch TV commercials, what kind of commercials do they watch? What kind of TV shows do they watch? Okay, if they're using social media, for example, okay, what kind of people do they hang around with? Okay, when it comes to their social groups. Okay, so we're talking about media usage. Apart from media usage, you also have finances. Okay, so income and financial characteristics. So what are their liabilities like? Will they be able to afford a certain product? Okay, do they have enough money in the bank? Do they have enough cash flow in their business if they have a business? Do they have enough assets? Okay, so on and so forth. Do they have enough equity for their business? Okay, so finances. Apart from finances, you also have brand affinities. Okay, so do they like certain brands and avoid other? So this is brand affinities. Okay, do they like certain brands and they avoid other brands? Okay, so on and so forth. Do they prefer certain brands? Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of a buyer persona. These are some things to keep in mind when developing a buyer persona, whether you're developing it for your business or for another business as part of a marketing group. Okay, so that will be it for this video. On behalf of Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.